Hello and welcome to Star Citizen. My name is Evenlease, and today on 10 Minutes More or Less Ship Review, we have the newest addition from Aegis, and that is the SABRE Firebird, which is right behind me. Let's go ahead and take a look. So starting with the newest edition of Aegis, the SABRE Firebird here, it's a ship. And you gotta wonder, well, is this ship going to be good for you? There's a lot of questions there with this ship, because are you going to be PvP? Are you going to be PvE? Or are you going to be a bit of both? That's the question that you want the answers to, of whether or not this ship is going to work out, depending on what role you want to give it. Now, I've had some experience with this ship over the past, week, or since it was announced. I've had a lot of flight time with it, kind of see where it sits. And I know right now in the 0.1 Alpha PTU build, they did buff this ship a little bit, which I will discuss to make sure you know where it lies after that, even so. Now, starting off, this ship is not a brawler by any means. So if you go into it thinking, man, maybe I can really go head to head with some other, ships that are kind of small and light, it's not suggested. You could definitely fight off like a Arrow or something like that, or a Gladius, but why buy $170 WARBOND ship or $185 ship if you're using store credit just to fight those light of fighters, right? This ship is considered a interdictor, stealth interdictor. Don't get me wrong, it's very stealthy, and with the new update, it's going to be even stealthier. Like, this thing is going to be matching the stealthiness of its sister, the SABRE. Because right now, it's only got a 20% EM rating debuff, but with the new update coming, it's going to be 40% EM debuff. So that's going to be fantastic, and I can't wait to see how that affects this ship overall. Now, let's talk about this ship and kind of where it sits in regards to, how does it do in combat? Well, I've had a bit of a mixture in PvP as well as PvE, and I'll say this ship in PvP, depending on what you're fighting, if they're hitting you and they get your shield down, you're gonna fall apart pretty quick because of the way the health is distributed on this ship. I mean, you got 1,000 hit points on the canopy, you got I believe it's 4,000 on the nose, 2,000 on all these little wing areas. You start taking damage quick and you fall apart very fast. And since a lot of the times nowadays with master modes, you are head to head, you're going to, you're going to go pop very quickly. So you got to be very wary of that situation, and maybe not PvP, or if you're going to PvP, use it as a hit and run. You go into a fight, you lay down your missiles, because this thing is a stealth interdictor with the missile firepower of I don't know, just so much firepower, right? Why didn't I come up with like an example there? Like the Talon Shriek, right? Or Shrike, I think. Strike? Oh my god. I'm just getting back from like a small vacation with my kid. He turned 7. Thank you everybody for the birthday wishes. It was fantastic. But don't get me wrong here, I'm going to mispronounce some things. I'm tired. So, getting into it though, let's talk about the stats of this ship and, the reasons why you may or may not want to buy it, right? Starting off with this ship, it has 2 size 3 GT220s here at the front, as you can see, and that comes out to a total of 1,014 DPS. Not terrible, but you only have 2 gun hardpoints, and you can't add more. So, remember that, as it's gonna become a pain in your side when you only have 2 guns, and a lot of the ships you're fighting have 6, 4, 8. It gets a little bit ridiculous, right? So that is something to consider. Does this ship do great in PvE with that, gun loadout? Absolutely. It's fantastic. I'd say this is a great PvE ship, especially with the stealth. You don't get locked on too quickly. They don't go after you too fast, so that's perfect. Now, you do have currently, in the current game, 12 size 3 Thunderbolt 3 missiles. That's being updated to 24 size 3 missiles, which deploy from the bottom of the ship, which, you know, you'll see in a video here and there. Now, that is amazing because you can shoot 6 at a time, which I'll tell you right now, I went after a Constellation Andromeda. The guy didn't see me coming. I know I was a little bit of a murder hobo on this. I jumped in on this guy. He was over at Ghost Hollow, and I kind of really wanted to see what could a stealth ship with a 6 missile payload do to a ship like that. Well, I dropped 6 and then waited a few seconds, dropped another 6. The Andromeda was completely crippled. It couldn't react, and then I just over time melted it with the guns, and it ended up falling and being that's what it was. So you can definitely surprise people or AI targets and do a lot of fantastic work with that. And now with 24 of them, this thing's going to be a beast with that stealth. Now we got to back it up a little because you have only 3,000 shield strength on this thing, and it's a bubble shield. So like I said, if you start taking damage, you're going to lose your shield very quickly. So make sure you know that. You also have 23,000 health points on this ship. So you lose your shield, you have 23,000 health points, but like I said, they're spread out all over the place. It's not like 3 different areas, it's like 10 different areas. You got the front here, you got the canopy, you got each little wing area. It's split out in so many different spots that you really do start falling apart very fast. So that's my recommendation when it comes to PvP. Avoid it unless you're providing backup and they're not focused on you. At that point, you could be quite the competitor. Now, where this ship does really excel with that stealth is the speed. It is a top speed of 240 SCM with 1400 nav speed, which is ridiculous, a 600 forward boost, and a 260 backwards boost. Wow. This ship is fantastically fast. There was a point in time where, a player eclipse, I had a bounty. This was after the Andromeda, so I got a bounty. And a player eclipse was hunting me with the bounty, of course. And they popped into my radar range before they even saw me. That's how stealthy this thing was. I was surprised. He didn't have a lock on me yet, but I instantly locked on him and, got his 6 missiles, tore this thing to shreds. Surprisingly, he escaped, but he escaped with no wings, no nothing. Like, the guy was never able to even get a shot off, but he did escape. But I was able to kind of avoid him and also catch up with him a lot of the times when he was running. After a certain point in time, I just gave up. It wasn't worth chasing. I was more or less just trying to stay alive. But point being, this thing's fast. Very fast. And of course, with it being a brand new ship, it has the gold standard pass, it has the components pass, it has everything you need, as you see on screen. You have the components on the top of the ship, you have a fuel port on the back of the ship, you also have a weapons rack, and you have internal storage on the passenger side of the vehicle. There's no passengers, don't get me wrong. It's a single-seater, but I just say that because it's the right side of the vehicle here. And so, this is where you'd have your storage, and it holds quite a bit, which is great. Now, quantum fuel, not good. 583 is typical for a ship like this. You're not going to have a lot of quantum fuel. It's not meant to, go around and be away from a landing zone for a while, right? This doesn't have any sort of interior in any regard other than just your pilot area. So you go out, you do your job, you come back, you refuel, you rearm, end of story. That's just what it is. So what are the pros and cons of this ship, right? Pros, obviously, tons of missiles. They're size 3. You got speed. You got the gold standard. You got the weapons rack, which is fantastic if you're doing bunkers and you want to stay stealthy. Perfect little ship. You have the con on this ship, though, is the health point spread throughout the whole ship. It's quick death, very quick death. You only have 2 gun hard points compared to the sister Sabre. And here's where I want to kind of talk to you really quick before I give this thing a score. The sister Sabre ship, which is just the Sabre, is $170 and purchasable in-game for $4,498,200. Now, that ship has 4 gun hard points, 3,000 shield, 23,000 health, only 4 size 3 missiles. Its speed is dramatically less than this one, of course, 206 SCM with 1235 nav, 612 quantum fuel. It matches an EM, so your stealth is pretty much the same, but it's got more gun hard points and a little bit more customization behind it. So the question is why pick this over that, right? Well, it's just all about looks. Do you want the look that you get with this ship? You only got 2 hard points, and also if you really like missile boats, if you love missile boats, and now you're gonna get 24 of them, this thing is fantastic because it's stealthy on top of having those missiles all day long, all day long. But in the end, it's just up to you and how you want to fly it. Do I recommend PvP? Obviously, anybody can PvP any ship, right? Are you going to last in this ship PvPing? Probably not. But you can give it a shot. It's still super fun. And with the new stealth rating this thing's going to have, it's going to be fantastic jumping in and out of someone's radar contact. What would I give this ship in the current standing, everything, and, well, the future buffs it's going to get? This ship gets an 8 out of 10. There are just a few things. You know, it's pretty maneuverable, very maneuverable, actually. Stealthy, lots of rockets. The 2 gun hardpoints is kind of a miss because everything you fight now has more than 2. The Gladius has 3. The Arrow has a ton. The the F8C has a ton. The F7s have a ton of weapons. And this thing has no customization to that. You can change out the weapons, but you can't add more. So you're kind of stuck with what you see. Let me know what you think of this ship down in the comments below. 8 out of 10. It might seem like it's a pretty high score for what I was just saying, but it's a really great ship. It has great stealth, has amazing missiles. So when the missiles actually, you know, lock and make contact, this thing is just fantastic all day long. I was having fun with that. So it does exactly what it's meant to do, which is just, I love that. And the colors look great, almost Crusader-y. Not sure where that color scheme is coming from, but well, whatever. Let me know what you guys think of this ship down in the comments below. And make sure you enter for the giveaway on this ship, brought to you by CIG. Thank you guys over at Cloud Imperium Games for giving me this ship to give away. That's fantastic, amazing. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one.